All right. I like that word you use, edging. Elon Musk is gooning for Bitcoin, perhaps, if you will. All right. So as everybody who's listening probably knows, Elon Musk had quite a week last week, and this mostly concerned his kind of tit for tat with the US president. But there was also a lot of relevance to crypto. So this all started last weekend. Mr. Musk could no longer hold his tongue about his disapproval with Washington, D.C. He criticized the government's fiscal management, warning that the country is heading towards bankruptcy. The alarm centers around the ever-growing national debt and lack of accountability in the budgeting process.
Not long after that, he expressed agreement with Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, who warned that Bitcoin could eventually replace the US dollar if the government fails to address its financial mismanagement. And Armstrong's remarks were in response to the looming debt crisis. So Musk supported the sentiment and suggested growing appeal for Bitcoin in times of fiat instability.
Musk's comments have some in the Bitcoin community feeling that Musk is inching closer to Bitcoin maximalism. Following article that we're showing here traces Musk's evolving stance towards Bitcoin, and it notes his increasing favorable views amid escalating concerns about the US debt. While not full-fledged Bitcoin maximalism yet, Musk has several comments that align with the idea that Bitcoin might offer a safeguard against government monetary mismanagement, a common refrain for maximalists.
Yeah, this is interesting because this is something we've actually been noting, that the TradFi mavericks or the TradFi monarchs have been saying things that the Bitcoin maxis or like the early Bitcoin and crypto folks have been saying for like a decade now, and the top players in the TradFi world are now saying similar things. Of course, Bitcoin maximalism is probably a bit hopeful or aspirational, because Polymarket, which is of course the blockchain-based prediction market, announced a partnership with X, which is of course one of Elon Musk's companies, and the partnership is to bring decentralized forecasting tools to X. So this collaboration aims to increase transparency, engage users in public discourse, and test the viability of blockchain-powered prediction systems in mainstream context.
Not on Bitcoin, right? Polymarket's not on Bitcoin.
Yeah, not on Bitcoin. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be he may be saying things that Bitcoin maxis would say, but the actual actions are far from a Bitcoin maximalist approach.
Okay. So the last thing, this is from this morning, and it's kind of like it puts a bow on the whole week, starting last weekend to today. Elon Musk's tumultuous week tussling with the U.S. Commander-in-Chief. He posted something about 2 hours ago that could be considered a mea culpa. And he said, and I quote, "It's outrageous how much character assassination has been directed at me, especially by me." And this made me chuckle, and it reminded me of the Alex Jones famous memeable video from Joe Rogan where he said,
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
I think Elon Musk has in one short week kind of come, maybe not full circle, but he had his little arc with the president, and now hopefully things will return to normal on this. What are your thoughts on this whole thing as it pertains to crypto, though?
Tesla still is one of the largest Bitcoin holders, right? If Musk is saying these things like, oh, this bill is just another example of how the government can't stop spending, this whole thing's unsustainable, the house of cards is eventually going to fall, it leads one to the logical conclusion that you need to hold more not dollars. And what is the best not dollar thing? There's options, but Bitcoin is certainly one of them.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, but in terms of just the words are true. Yeah, holding Bitcoin is important, But you talked about taking things with a grain of salt, or whatever, the saltiest salt there is. The fact that Elon Musk has had this kind of round trip of fallout with the president and all this stuff in 1 week, and it is now kind of returning to sanity, just makes me think like, well, how serious is he about anything he says? So It's fashionable now for him to love Bitcoin, which obviously I think he does like Bitcoin, but I think he's just using it as like a little narrative piece for the past week.
Yeah,
So,
of course. Certainly. I definitely feel like I'm being played
Yeah.
here, psyoped in some way. There's some kind of. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Elon and Trump were like literally sitting in the room
Yeah.
together, joking, having whiskeys, and like having this public feud for some, I don't know, reason that. Whatever, they need to like pump the share price of Tesla, and by disassociating himself with Trump, maybe that's like what they figure is going to work. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
bizarre.
I agree. I think though that like, again, the story that we had where people in the Bitcoin community instantly latched onto this within 1 week, just, I don't know, that feels desperate. I don't know why they would be so desperate, right? Bitcoin's doing well. Bitcoin doesn't need Elon Musk to say the things that he did about Bitcoin, right? Like, who gives a flying F what Musk thinks about Bitcoin? Personally, that's how I feel. Anyway.
All right.